All right. We're good.
All right.
All ready?
Hello and welcome to the Powder Burn Podcast. My name is Jordan McCormick with Delta Team Tactical, and with me, as always, is
Patrick Barton.
Yeps. And I am super pumped about today's guest. He and I have been friends for a few years, and I've had this idea for a podcast for a while.
Yeah.
And I've made many lists of potential guests, and Mark Choppa is a name that has been on my guest list for years. So I'm actually, this is kind of coming full circle for me, like to have Mark Choppa on here. Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do. And we want to get into hearing your story and things like that.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Jordan. Well, first off, I want to say thanks for having me. Jordan, Patrick, you guys are awesome. You know, yes, me and Jordan been kicking in Vegas for quite a few years. And we've
that's
been,
true.
Do some things, collab on a couple projects. So I'm just excited that we're finally here. I'm Mark Choppa. I'm a gun enthusiast. Also, I'm a community activist. I'm very active in my community, teaching firearm safety and awareness. And we do things from community events to range days to giveaways to giving back to the community in so many different ways that we can. I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I am a man of God.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Yep.
It's all good. It's all good.
We spent some time in Vegas this year. We went out to dinner, and I heard a lot about your story and you growing up. And I would love for you to share that with, if you don't mind, share that with our audience. Like, where are you from and where you grew up? And I think you know kind of what I was alluding to because we talked about it that night.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Washington, D.C., actually the DMV, D.C. surrounding area. That is D.C., Maryland, Virginia. Most people that is from this area moved around throughout the tri-state. Grew up single mother. I had 5 brothers, and we grew up in homeless shelters, moving around. My mother going to school to be a nurse, a RN, and she was working 2 jobs. She was working at the restaurant, a seafood restaurant. Oh my God, they tore it down, but I can't recall the name. Chesapeake Bay. The name of the restaurant was Chesapeake Bay. It was quite at the time, it was interesting. It was an interesting childhood, and we were having a blast because we were all together. The problems came about from just school, going to school. Not having much of anything. As far as new shoes, different clothes, we were wearing the same stuff majority of the time. So, of course, that led to bullying attempts on me and my brothers. But we were pretty solid. We were pretty rough. We played football. My mother got us in boxing. So we were, down the line, that helped us to help us defend ourselves. That led me to. I can go on and on and on, Jordan.
Do it. Go for it, man.
Because that is the root right there. Of the self-defense, and that led me to become a bodyguard. Growing up, age 16, I started working at the nightclubs in D.C., working as a bouncer.
Jeez.
So
you're working at clubs you weren't old enough to get in as a bouncer.
At 16 years old, though, Jordan, I was in shape, man. I was like football. I mean, my guns was jumping out. I was putting grown men out of the venue. So shoot. I learned the game. I learned how to network. I learned the business. I learned the trade. I learned the trade at 16 years old. So by the time I was 18, 19, I was taking over contracts all throughout Washington, D.C. And nice. So we had team members at different bars, different venues. We were even picking up high-profile clients because my reputation became quite notarized. It was like I was well known in the area, and cool. good at what I was doing. Just being punctual, just showing up, just just handling business, without all the extra stuff, because when you're looking for a team member or somebody to run, make sure your staff is safe, the number one thing you look for is somebody that's going to be reliable,
Yeah. Real
and I
professional.
believe that, I learned that early on, and I strive to be that. So, moving forward, we started working these venues called pop-up shops, right? I don't know if you guys know anything about cannabis, but cannabis became decriminalized in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
Once that happened, so many gray areas within the law transpired. So there were shops being opened up to sell cannabis, but they were doing it, using the gray area of the law, gifting cannabis. So we were protecting these shops. It was 3 times the amount of money because the risk was greater, of course. It was less hours, and they were plentiful. There were cannabis.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Trent, is that our end or his end?
All right, we should be good. I'm back on 2%.
Okay.
All right. So where were we?
Probably to start off where we were, the story about those pop-up shops and how they're paying good, but they were a little bit more risky, right?
Yeah, a lot more riskier. And at the time when it first started, there were police officers like patrolling and even stop by, check on the spots. Once DC issued some sort of ordinance where as though they wanted to shut the pop-ups down because they wanted the money for themselves. They create, like, you have to, Pablo, please go. They wanted to get the money for themselves and open up dispensaries, which you had to pay, you had to have like $1 million insurance, and you had to pay all these different
tons of taxes and everything.
Yeah, they wanted the money. Yeah, they wanted the money for themselves. These little small businesses were making bank, and I witnessed it. We were making great money, my whole staff. So once they did that, so pretty much the police presence left. If there was a police presence, it's kind of like, okay, we got to shut down shop. It turned into a trap house kind of thing, police were swatting some of the pop-up shops, and there were so many of them. It was like happening every single weekend. Pablo, sit down, please. Can you take Pablo with you, please? I'm on a podcast, son.
He just wants to be in the video too. So
this is prime time for my children. My oldest daughter, she's going to work. She works at a yoga studio, and my son, he's coming home from his school. So,
and you have 4 kids?
I got 5. Yeah,
5 kids.
Yeah, 3 of them live with me, and my youngest daughter, she's at a camp. She's gone for the week. So, and that's one of my biggest helpers. So she would have had all this situated for me. I lost my biggest helper. But back on track. So the police presence was gone. So that left it wide open for, robberies, people plotting and staking out different pop-up shops. So every weekend you heard about a pop-up shop getting robbed, right? So it was one night on my wife's birthday. And Jordan, you know this story. One night on my wife's birthday, took her out to dinner. We had a beautiful evening. We went to Phillips Seafood and had a great dinner. I'm dropping her home because I got all these guys at different locations, different pop-up shops, at the bars, at the clubs. So I just wanted to do a round, and I was coming right home. That was the plan. The plan was to come right on home. And it was just one particular spot I really needed to go check on because it was our first time there, first time protecting their venue. So I said, I'm going to go there first. I went there, checked up on the guys. Guys gave me a thumbs up. It was nice. It was a nice vibe. I mean, everyone was having a good time. Customers coming in, customers coming out. We had 2 different guards there, one at the front door and one upstairs. So it was a pretty safe location. At least that's what I assumed. But you never know. You always got to be prepared. And so I'm coming out of the venue. Actually walking to my car. Going to walk to my car, and I see one of the vendors. They're coming out of the building, and he has his own security and his own. He has an assistant. He has an assistant and he has his own security, and they're walking out. My first thought was like, oh, they're good. He has his own security. So I said, you know what? Let me turn back. I turned back, got to the corner. I said, I'm just going to keep an eye on them, because at the end of the day, if something happens, it will fall on me. It'll fall on Manly Protective Service. That was the name of my executive protection company. And that was a name that I prided myself. I've been building it since I was 16 years old. So I took it very seriously. It was my empire. I was feeding multiple families. We had a staff of over 20 guys and girls, So I took it very seriously. So I'm watching them. They get to their car. I'm about maybe about 12 feet. I'm about 12 feet away, just watching them. I see a black truck speed up right through the alley. I don't know if you guys are familiar with DC, but this area is called U Street. There are thousands of people walking up and down the street all night long. So this was in front of thousands of pedestrians, just walking. And so when I see the black truck pull up, I just knew something in my heart just boom. Like, here it go. It's about to go down. I just knew that from the way they was just driving, reckless. And then you see 4 car doors open, wide open. Guys in ski masks. They're semi-automatics.
Like out of the movies.
It was. I'm telling you, Jordan. I'm telling you, it was like I couldn't believe it. I literally was in shock for about I can't recall, a few seconds. I just like froze. It was like a fight or flight. Like, okay, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And one of the guys had his gun drew on me, and I'll never forget it because it was a young kid, really. He was over 21, but I can tell he was young. And he was like, "Man, if you don't get your on the ground," and I said, my mind was like, I got a decision. Either to lay down on the ground. I don't know this kid. I don't know what he's capable of. I don't know. There are people that do get on the ground, surrender, and they still lose their life. So I made a decision to fight, and I pulled out my firearm. I started moving and shooting. And I remember like shots being fired back at me, and I didn't see the guys anymore. I fired about 7-8 shots, and I didn't see the young man. I don't want to call him a kid because he wasn't a kid. He was a young man. I think it was 22 or 23 or 24 at the time, and I just remember him. It was like, I just remember feeling like I'm going home. I'm going home tonight. So I got right on it. After they left, I was still on guard. I was still going to go check on my guys. Are you guys okay? You guys okay? Because there was so many shots. I didn't know who was hit. I didn't know. One of my guys had been hit or came outside. It was chaos. It was chaotic. Yeah. So at the time, I stuck around, and one of my guys, Zoe had to call me and said, "What are you doing still here? You need to get out of here." I'm like, "I'm not leaving my guys. I'm not leaving you guys." It was like, "We're good." So that's what made me like, "Oh, what am I doing? I just killed somebody. I need to go." Because you heard all the police sounds, You heard ambulances. You heard screams. I mean, it was terror. It was terror. So from there, I actually went to this bar called Elroy's, just to kind of meet up with my team, and I knew I was going to go out of town. I was gone. Washington D.C. I didn't know anything about self-defense laws. You know, at the time, I didn't know much about firearms at the time, permits or anything like that. I was just a young black kid in Washington D.C. building a business, and wasn't properly educated on how to go about it. You know, no one's ever sat me down and said, "Hey, you got all your your permits, or you got your your licenses and everything," because the security business is so many gray areas. You know, you got guys working as bouncers. You know, you off the street. You know, in front of a So it was like that was never a it never really crossed my mind. You know, until what's so crazy is about a couple weeks ago, I had put in for my security business license. And this is crazy. That'll probably get too deep for today, because that's a whole nother different story, you know.
It's a rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it just So anyway, I met up with my team at the bar, kind of giving everyone instructions, because we still had people to protect, we still had businesses to protect, and families to feed. So I let everybody know I was going to be going away for a while. So I'm headed. I'm getting on the road. I called my wife, said, "Yeah, I'm going to Mama house." You know, Mama, when she heard Mama house, she just she knew something happened. You know, Mama house there's nowhere to be found. There's it's like an old country, small town. So she already knew. So halfway there, I'm like, for one, I'm tired, and I'm like, I'm not leaving my family. You know, I'm gonna fight this thing. I'm not leaving my babies, and I'm not leaving my wife, and I'm gonna fight. So I went on home. No, I didn't go home that night. I was terrified to go home that night. So I just stayed over we had a clubhouse in Baltimore. So I stayed there for the night. And when I woke up, went home, got on the phone with one of my lawyers that's been representing me since a child, because I've been in fist fights and little scuffles since I was a teenager. So I already had a family lawyer, So I got in touch with him. He didn't represent in D.C., so he referred me to a lady named Nikki Lotzi. And shout out to Nikki Lotzi. She's a woman that is a bulldog, and we met, and she told me everything was going to be fine. I'm like, really? I'm like,
for that.
Somebody's dead, So,
you shot somebody in D.C. Like, that's not.
Yeah, so it was just.
You hear horror stories about carrying a Swiss Army knife in D.C.
Growing up, we've never had any self-defense laws, So this self-defense law, called the Middle Ground Law, it just came about like maybe a year or two before my case. They've been gentrifying D.C. So now we got gun permits. We never had gun permits before. You couldn't carry in D.C. at all. Now you can carry in D.C. with, again, a D.C. permit. And now we have self-defense laws. So a lot has changed, and it changed in my favor. Thank you to God. It just feel like everything happened for a reason. It was just like, So anyway, she was saying, she had a private investigator, and she got a hold of the tape, and everything what I told her matched up with what they seen on the tape. It was 4 guys hopping out of a truck with guns. All of them were armed and had ski masks. She's like, you don't have anything to worry about. They may come at you for the unregistered firearm. she said be prepared for that. But the justified homicide, she said it's in no way any jury or prosecution will try to come for you on that. And she was right. She was right. And down the line, months go past. I'm feeling like, okay, I can finally get past this. But I always knew like they were gonna come for me. I don't know why. I just knew it. But I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna be the one to break the ice. I went down there to their station, to MPD, to put in my fingerprints to apply for a concealed carry permit. And that is what broke the ice. And I knew it would, that raised some, that so because I'm like, I'm ready to face this now. Okay. Are you guys going to come at me or you guys aren't? If you aren't, you want to give me my permit to have concealed carry in Washington, D.C. So after I did the application, about 2 weeks later, I get a phone call and I'm hanging out with my boy. He's a comedian. His name is J2 Funny. And we're just having some food. And I get the call and he said, hey, Mr. Manley, this Mr. Manley. He said, okay, your permit is ready. You can pick up your firearm. I said, okay, thank you so much. I got on the phone. I looked at him. I said, hey, bro, they're about to set me up. I said, this is a setup. I just felt the energy. And that's how good God is, I felt.
Just like you did that night. Like
yeah.
You felt.
Yeah. I always had like a spirit of discernment, And I told J2 Funny, I said, come with me to pick it up because they're gonna set me up. So I wanted to make sure that, I had someone to take my car, contact my wife, contact my lawyer, and sure enough, we walked in that court building, sat down. As soon as my butt touched the seat, it was like 20 officers. I can't make this up because they made it seem like I was so dangerous, and armed. I don't know what they seen on that tape, but they treated me like, I was like the biggest outlaw, So as soon as my butt hit the seat, they come, are you Mark Manley? And they come bum rush me. I'm like, whoa, I'm in the courtroom. Obviously, I'm unarmed. I'm not resisting or anything like that. But no, they roughed me up pretty good. And from there, did a couple days in jail, DC jail, which was the worst, man. Like, we talking roaches and rats,
Ugh.
I'm like, when I get out of here, and I need to speak out on this, like, because it was bad. I tried to go in the shower, it was poop in the shower, I'm like, I can't even take a shower. And if you sleeping in, there's roaches, everywhere. So, and sure enough, when I eventually get out, I did speak out, and I made a call. Once I grew my platform, I definitely made some posts about it. But anyway, I stayed there for a few days, got in the court case, and my lawyer, Nikki Lotzi, she just started going off. She started going off, where the judge said, okay, your client is going home. He's going home. Like, she was like, okay, all right. Because, she was like, do you guys know it was 4 armed assailants? Thank God Mr. Manley had a firearm. Thank God he was there that night. Wow. We don't care if it was registered, unregistered. Thank God he was there. She really went to bat for me. I'm like, well, this is the best money I've ever spent on someone to represent me. If I wanted to be represented, I want to be represented just like that because, she didn't give up. The state's attorneys just kept trying to throw in stuff, about me. What she shut it down, and once the judge said you're going home, you just said because the courtroom was packed. It was a big public case. That was the beginning of kind of the brand, the social media brand. Because I had a big name, out in the community and in the street, and on the business aspect. But that's where social media came into play, because it was Washington Post. It was, oh man, the whole courtroom just started like clapping, breaking down. My mom was in tears. It was a movie, Jordan and Pat.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was quite. It was quite. I don't even have a word for it, man. It was like one of the most toughest battles I've had to overcome. So it was victorious. Because they could have, set me down for a while. For that. So,
and thank goodness you had Nikki to represent you, because
Nikki Lottie.
like
that's what I wanted to get into.
You and I have talked about this before, but like the race thing is real, especially in those areas and stuff like that. Like, here in Utah, we don't see it as much because it's just all blonde hair, blue eye people.
Yeah. That's I'm coming to darken y'all up real soon, man.
All right, come on out.
Yeah.
But like I don't experience that personally. Like I've seen it before because I grew up in Vegas and I'd seen some of it, but like it like being a black man involved in a shooting in DC with an unregistered firearm, even though it was a justified shooting.
Yeah.
Like you being in the firearms industry, you just hear horror stories about like I wasn't really making a joke about carrying a Swiss Army knife in DC. Like,
yeah, no, seriously, you can't have it over. I think it's a few inches. Oh,
yeah.
Like,
yeah. My Leatherman would take me, a middle-aged white man, to jail in DC. And being a young black man involved in a shooting in DC, like the fact that we're having this conversation today and that you're not just, they didn't lock you up and throw away the key is a miracle. It is an act of God. Yeah.
It is. So many people that didn't have maybe the means to get a lawyer that was going to represent me, like Nikki Lottie. There were so many people that had to defend themselves that are still in jail today, and that's heartbreaking, and it has a lot to do with lack of education, just being ignorant to firearms, licenses and all those things, and also, of course, like you said, I mean, the complexion comes in a big play because they automatically assume that we're involved in illegal activities a lot of times, or so, and because there's a lot of inner city crime. All right, there's a lot of shootings in Washington D.C. I mean, our homicide numbers are in the top 5 right now, in the country. So,
and always have been, like since like the 70s at least.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
So we were considered the murder capital. So
did they end up giving you your permit?
Oh, okay. So that is a good question. That is a fight I am still fighting.
Okay.
See, I'm still fighting that fight. I just won a big court case. With my lawyer, I had a 2A attorney. I post them on my page all the time. They call it the legal courthouse. So eventually, I went to go apply again, and they said that I had a history of violence. So this one situation, me defending myself, was cause for them to deny.
Is a history of violence.
I have a history of violence. That's the only charge I ever had in Washington D.C. Of course, I have a juvenile record, and that was all in Maryland. I didn't have anything in D.C. So the lawyer, the legal courthouse, just sealed that case. So they can't even look at the case anymore. So now this just happened like 2 weeks ago. So because I was fighting, I went to administrative court, appealed the original decision, and then I took it to I forgot the next level court, but they didn't. They denied me again. But it was like the same. It was like the same people. I'm like, all of y'all in the same building, so of course y'all gonna deny me. Y'all having lunch together talking about how y'all going to deny me, Mark Manley, for his firearm. You know, so, and then I was supposed to take.
Free Britney. It's Mark his
Yeah,
permit.
right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, right?
We're about to start a hashtag.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak on it soon. It's funny that you said that, but I want the actual certificate because I want to tell people that if you have stuff in the Washington D.C. area that you can get it sealed, and then you can apply for your permit. So I want to wait for my certificate of sealing.
Send us a picture when you do, and we'll give you a shout out for it.
Yeah,
I will. Sure.
Yeah,
I appreciate that because this is a big deal. Something I've been fighting for a few years. You know, I even moved out of D.C. because of this. I'm like, okay, I can't be armed here. I'm out. I moved right to Maryland.
You told me that you had a situation, but we never got into it. This last year, in January when we were at dinner. But I didn't know that story.
Yeah, I moved out. For one, I moved out of DC because my face was all over, plastered all over the news with killing someone. You know, there's still someone, cousin, brother, best friend, neighborhood, wherever, and of course I had my children, so they were going to schools right there in DC, so I wanted them out because I didn't want anybody to, try to get some revenge with them.
Sure.
These people are ruthless. So that was number one. Number two, we had spent so much money on lawyer fees. I mean, it was crazy. That situation ran up almost like $25,000 to $30,000.
That's surprising you got it for that cheap.
Yeah, really. I know that's what everyone's saying.
You could easily add a zero to that number.
Yeah, especially for what you got.
Most homicides or anything with a homicide, it's usually like 55, 60 and up. That's the bottom line. That's if you got to go to trial and stuff like that, it's going to cost more.
Right.
So I wanted to go cheaper because I wanted to. Baltimore is so much cheaper than DC. So, like you can get the same. You can get the house apartment in DC for that same price. You can get a house in Baltimore. And they're the same cities. I mean, if you ask me, like it's still they talk different. They talk different. But we moved out here, and it's been one of the best decisions I ever made. Just a fresh start. And eventually, of course, I'm always in DC because that's where a lot of, my relationships are. It's a lot of, I do a lot in the community because that's where I grew up at. So the kids and stuff I deal with, different neighborhoods. I mentor a lot of kids in different DC neighborhoods because I'm familiar with I'm familiar with them. I'm familiar with who's got who's enemies with who, what neighborhoods crossing paths. I can relate because I grew up around the same generational curse, that we're trying to break now. So yeah, eventually I want to start doing some work in Baltimore because this is my new home. But yeah.
Okay, I got shifting gears.
Okay.
You grew up in a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
Not a lot of opportunities for getting into firearms when you're living in a homeless shelter.
Oh yeah.
How did you get into shooting?
Okay, my mother never allowed us to play with water guns, pellet guns, nothing.
Oh, really?
Like, there was a no toy gun policy growing up. But like I said, I always been into I got into fights. So my mother put me in boxing like immediately. That was like the best thing that she could have done for me. Because it made me more efficient fighting. So
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it made me more efficient in fighting, and of course it kept me out of a lot of trouble, and that's how I got into the protection business. When I got into the protection business, I wasn't educated on firearms, but I'm from in the city. There was guns all around me, At 14 years old, I actually stole a 38 special from my Uncle Lucius. I stole it from my Uncle Lucius, And a few weeks later, my big brother stole that gun from me and sold it. And then I see one of the guys in the neighborhood showing me the gun that they got from my brother. I'm like, that's actually my gun.
Yeah.
So there was access to guns was there. Just the education wasn't,
Right.
And thank God, I never accidentally, shot myself or accidentally shot anybody else because I didn't have any trigger discipline. I didn't know anything about muzzle awareness. I didn't know anything about, nothing,
Right.
But pull the trigger, put a round in and pull the trigger. So that's all I knew. So I guess with all that being said, I got into the protection business, and of course, eventually I had to start carrying one. Well, no, I was carrying one around that. As soon as I turned 16, I was carrying one faithfully, because my friends were getting shot and killed. It was a time where we grew up in this neighborhood called Brittany Place, and there were about 3 of my closest friends. They all were gunned down in the same 30 days. And I remember the last one. His name is Shane. He is a good kid, big athlete. He was like, and he had got caught up in some messy stuff, and they gunned him down. I mean, bad, And I remember after that, I was so like traumatized, and I remember not going anywhere without a gun at that point, because I'm like, I didn't want that to happen to me, I don't want to end up like that, And of course, I tried to stay out of trouble, and but it's just like
that's a different world than what
it is
we live in,
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to kids that are, because I mean, obviously you're probably not advocating for underage gun possession and stuff like that. That's why you're doing your community.
Community.
For those who aren't familiar with Mark, and we want to get to this, like he does a ton of education and stuff in the community and activism for this and training people correctly. Like I don't want people to misrepresent you, and I don't want to see the hate in the comment section, especially when it's completely unjustified. How can kids get themselves out of that situation? What advice would you give to kids that are in that?
So the majority of the homicides of young teenagers are from absolutely the smallest things. I mean, from a girl, wrong neighborhood, you got a grudge with this person. So we try to teach them de-escalation skills, and that is just the way your tone, the way you talking to somebody. We teach them empathy. Try to empathize with this person that's probably going through some of the same things you're going through. They're probably hungry. Their father probably isn't home. Their father is locked up. They're probably wearing the same stuff, and they're hurt. They're upset. And also we teach them, with your hands, just try to keep them at a neutral position. Because a lot of times, you feel like you get into it, you're upset, you're moving your fingers, you might be clutching on something, you don't even have anything, but it might look like you have something. The other person might feel threatened, and that's that'll get you popped right there. Just those little things that you can try to focus on, just to de-escalate a potential deadly situation is like imperative that we teach the young kids, because they are literally killing each other for nothing, for the smallest things. I mean, we're talking about we're talking about different neighborhood that is across the street from another neighborhood. You guys are not getting along just because you're in different places. I mean, this is heartbreaking. You know, it's heartbreaking stuff. So if I wanted to leave a message for the young kids, if there are any young kids watching, or if you want to show your young children or teens this video, I want to make sure that they know um, that person that you have an issue with is not worth your freedom, it's not worth your time, and it's not worth your life. Because life is beautiful, and you got so much in store for you in the future, you know. And that person just isn't worth risking it. So I would like to leave them with that.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I mean, and go ahead and plug like what you're doing. Let's just talk about your community stuff.
Curious.
Tell us what you're doing now. You got a range project in the works. You have
We
your wife teaches concealed carry classes.
Yep, my wife. Yep.
You have your hands. You're not just a Instagram, Facebook, YouTube guy. You have your hands all over this industry.
Yeah, we're boots on the ground. We're building a private training compound. We built it. We've had one before called the Choppa Community. We just recently changed the name to Camp Choppa because I walked the property. It's 21 acres, and I found a creek that led to a large lake of water, a large body of water. So we want to teach fishing. We want to teach hunting.
Cool.
Of course, firearms, safety and awareness, self-defense, and de-escalation. De-escalation, what we just talked about. So we want to have a safe place for families to come to learn about these survival skills, you know. And I think the community, especially in an urban environment, is lacking. A lot of kids never been fishing. A lot of kids never been hunting, and a lot of kids just don't know some of these basic survival tips. So we're there to teach them, and we don't charge them. And we just want to do some good, you know. Just want to use our space and use our time to try to make a difference. And we've been doing this for about 4 years now. Yeah, we've been doing this about 4 years now. We're the new property. Our original property got shut down. The neighbors filed a petition to get it shut down because they couldn't take it. We were every Sunday, so we were shooting guns every Sunday, you know, and so I wasn't upset at all, you know. It was just one of those things, you know. So we found a location with more acres, and we're still getting complaints.
It sounds like it just keeps growing and growing.
It keeps growing.
How did you do people just flock to you because they see all the good you're doing, or how do you build up this community from?
It's a great question.
From just almost nothing, you know, like you just wanted to help one person out, and it just grows like that.
Documentation, you know, become one of my famous things I do when we have our community events is take a group photo. You know, we all take a group photo. A lot of people like to participate. If you don't want to participate, fine. But most of the time, people participate, and we all get together. All right, and we document. We take a group photo. All right, and that kind of prompts a question like, what are you guys doing? You know, where are you guys located? What are you guys offering? You know, so just creating content and documenting everything that we're doing and posting it. You know, a lot is word of mouth as well because for over 4 years we kind of built a family and we haven't had that one incident. You know, and we're talking about hundreds of black men and women and white men and women as well. You know, Asian, Spanish. You know, we just try to we welcome all walks of life. You know, but of course, coming from the inner city, it's majority black, and people like, you know, it's majority black people. You know, I mean that's DC. You know, You know, it's majority.
Well, that's just like saying when we go out shooting, it's majority white people.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
what lives here in Utah.
But you know what's so funny? A lot of white people that are in the 2A community, I invite them. I said, please come to lighten this place up, you know. And I'm saying it as a joke, but I'm like, because I don't want, you know, people to feel like that.
I'd love to go. So I'd love to
closer. Is what I was just thinking.
Yeah, I'd love to make it one of these days.
Because we're basing this training compound off of love, you know, and we're not. We don't want to say, hey, no, you guys can't come. You know, that's not what we're doing. We're trying to bring everyone together. I mean, in the 2A space, everyone who wants to learn, everyone who has something to teach. You know, we have all kinds of guys come out there teaching tourniquet, first aid, CPR, you know, tactical stances and tactical training. You know, they come out there, a lot of Army and Navy, Marines, you know, come out there and just teach what they know. So it's like
that's awesome.
Hot people from the community pouring in. They're like, you got people wanting to learn. You got first-time shooters here. You got, you know, children here that are already gun enthusiasts, naturally, all right? They are curious. They want to know, what is this? What is this? You know, what is this tool? What is it for? How does it work? You know? And I just feel like, from where I'm from, I know it's important for them to learn, to become educated, because they already have this curiosity. So when they're over their friend's house, when his friends say, "Oh, let me show you this gun," I'm like, "Oh, put that back. I know what that thing can do. Put that back. You know, at least if the friend already got it, take the mag out and clear it. All right, now if you want to look at it, now you want to show me this firearm, you can show it to me. You know, I'm just
sure.
I look at the world as I'm a realist, you know, like I'm not. I don't want to. My children, they are educated. They know how to handle it. They know how to shoot it. I don't lock all my guns up. Most of my guns are locked in my safe, but my gun is always next to me on the nightstand, you know. So and they don't touch my stuff because for one they know responsibility behind it. They know what happens when you pull the trigger. Some kids don't know. Some kids just pull, look at this. Boom.
Well,
the trigger here.
That's one of the things that's like impressed me about you is you not only did you grow up in a homeless shelter, but your dad wasn't present. And that's usually who teaches, you know, their kids. Like in my house, I'm the one teaching my kids about firearm safety. Like my wife's not doing it, I'm doing it. And, you know, I'm the one that's taking my kids out shooting. But if you don't have that father figure, like you're providing that for a community, not only a community, but a community of people who a lot of them don't have father figures present, or if they do, their father figure wasn't taught.
Please don't say that too loud, because my wife always says you had too many children. Please tell these women that you are not their kid's father. Like my wife is, you know, she's.
I know your wife. Yeah,
I know. You know, like you
know,
clear.
She is a woman I am terrified of. That is for sure.
She is terrifying. No, she's a sweetheart.
She's been nothing but great to me. But yeah, like she's somebody who like. If she jumped out of that black pickup truck, I would leave. Like she is not somebody that you want to mess with.
Look, she is calling right now.
She knows.
She heard me talking about her.
We literally spoke her up.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through your.
There are so many children that look at me as a father figure, and there are so many women who might call. And just to have me, you know, talk to the child when he's messing up in school or when he's doing well in school, you know? And
that's awesome.
And these are beautiful moments, but of course my wife is like, you know, we got to draw a line, you know?
Well, we have 5 kids. Okay, we don't need more.
Yes, pretty much. But, you know, wife is all about us, you know? She's focused on us. She doesn't spread her love out to the, you know, like me, you know, to the community.
Somebody's got to keep the house together.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But one thing that really impressed me about you, Mark, is just like scrolling through your Instagram, you talked about all the education you do and everything, and that's awesome, and I'm so impressed by that. But really, just how efficiently you're running these drills, but also they just look so much fun. We're doing it safely, education, but they just look like so much fun. I just want to come out there.
You know what? We had you guys know who Iraq veteran is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Iraq veteran, we had him come down, you know, white guy, right? You could tell he's never been to like, you know, our kind of event, you know, where it's like 99.8% black folk. I mean, we're cooking on the grill. We got the fish fry going.
I really want to
We got guns shooting. You know, we got, hip hop playing. You know, it was a great time. And he was like, Choppa, I am having so much fun. I was like, I know, bro. It's like, we have fun. We do. You know, he was like, you know, and
Polly shooting his AR to the beat of Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. So we try to make it a good time. Anytime we're all out together, a good fun range day. Of course, kind of unorthodox the way I handle things, but I just try to meet the people where they at. You know, even some of my videos, a little unorthodox, but it's like I create content to bring in the urban city, to bring in people that look like me, because I know they lack a lot. Some of them lack education on firearms and don't have their permits, and because we're just normalizing legal firearms in the black community. This is something that just happened in the last 2 years. Where black firearm owners have been like the leading purchasers on firearms. I think that was last.
Really?
Mm-hmm, it was black woman. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You could quote me on that. I did a lot of research on it. So that was like a big thing, because legal firearms just wasn't a big thing where I grew up at. It was like get the gun off the street, and then you get caught with the gun off the street, you go to jail, and then it's extremely hard to get those rights back. So I feel like that was like
it's really hard to own it legally after that.
Yeah. So that was like something I've seen, throughout my life, and kind of wanted to change that.
Well, we don't want to keep you, but we do want. I forgot to plug this in the beginning. Mark is one of our giveaway partners this month with the current giveaway that we have going on. So he's been very gracious helping us plug that.
You're matching one.
Yeah.
We have matching We the People.
Yep, we do. So it's the same gun that we have going on right here. Patrick's got the handgun in front of him. You can win this package. We don't have not shown the Predator body armor, plate carrier and plates. We get unique ARs.
We get that.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, you can win this setup. Has a Hollison optic. It's a unique AR receiver or builder set. A lot of their parts and stuff. Adaptive tactical stock and grip. Choppa's got the body armor right there. We did a custom Glock with this new North-Tac optic and our new compensator with the SCT frame. It's a really cool package. We're super stoked on this giveaway. We couldn't be happier to have Mark. He and I have been talking about doing a collaboration like this with unique ARs for 2-3 years. So,
it's been about 3 years.
Yeah, but 3 years. So it's just the stars finally aligned and it all came together. So we're super stoked. We'll have a link down below for where you can enter the giveaway. Put your email in. Then there's all sorts of stuff like following us on Instagram, following Mark on Instagram. Tons of different ways that you can enter. So definitely enter to win. Mark, thank you so much. I only got to like half my questions here, so we're gonna have to do this again. We're gonna have to have you on again.
look, I got right into it. I was like, you sure you want me to go down this rabbit hole? You know, from the beginning to the start.
And you'd only told me part of that story, so I didn't know. I didn't know about your shooting or any of that. Like, in the legal battles, like you just had told me like little. You told me about growing up in the homeless shelter, and then then moving to Baltimore because I think you said DC got a little too crazy for you, but you didn't elaborate. So
yeah, well, well, you got the raw story now.
That's what we want. Like that's what this is, and Mark's the first guy. Like this is kind of turned into like a manufacturing, like like you're the first non-manufacturer that we've had on the podcast. So
not
like
the first influencer.
Yeah, the first influencer and the first guy like literally not running, a CNC mill. So like, and which is awesome that we got some more dynamic background going on here. So thank you, Mark, for joining us. We will do this again. We just try to keep this here, and we're manifesting right now. We'd like to thank our future sponsor, Liquid Death. So
nice.
Yeah. Liquid Death, if you're watching, please sponsor us. Just send us cases of this. We'll drink it every podcast episode. And it's just water, people, so don't freak out. It's just
water and firearms.
Just water. Just water and guns.
Yeah.
That's all we got going on here.
Thank you guys for having me, man. You guys been showing me love and respect since day one, that's why I would love to come on your show again. Anytime you guys want to do something, I'm available.
Hey, maybe in person. Come on out this summer, and we've been talking about it.
Yeah,
your wife needs to come out. So we just picked up, but they're not a sponsor, so we can talk to you about that.
Oh, okay, all right.
They're not part of the giveaway, so you can call me about that anytime.
All right, got you. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we really appreciate you coming on. It's been a blast, and we could talk for hours and hours.
He and I have. Yeah.
We'll catch up.
We didn't get out at dinner till probably like late night. I remember it was late. We had a long dinner.
Yeah.
But yeah, people can follow the giveaway and find you there. But just in case they want to jump right in, where can people reach out and find you?
All right. You can find me at Mark Choppa, MarkChoppa. Just type in Mark Choppa.
Yeah. And Facebook or okay.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Oh yeah, YouTube.
Yeah. Mark Choppa TV for YouTube. Mark Choppa Manly on Facebook and Mark Choppa on Instagram.
Sweet.
Awesome, Mark. Well, thank you again, and we'll be talking to you soon. And
enter
to win.
Having me, man.
Yep.
All right.
See you, Mark. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
For a sec.
Oh,
is he gone?
Forgot to
give him a call to get him to.
No, he's still there.
Oh, okay. You still there, Mark?
Yeah, I left and then I